Alright, what is going on? I hope everybody's having a wonderful day. Today in this video I'm going to be showing you guys how I create my own Lightroom presets from scratch, and this is going to be the method that I use to create every single preset that I made inside my recent preset pack that I just released. I have not yet made like a formal announcement for the preset pack, but I do plan on making an overview video of the entire thing. Presets are something that people have been asking me about for the past like month, since I noticed that a lot of people like the way I edit my photos, so all the colors, the softness, everything like that. So the preset not only includes 5 different preset options, one of which is a black and white one, but it also includes a halation action in Photoshop, so you can copy like the Cinestill 800T look. Inside the presets there's also 3 grain options for you to choose from, and then there's also some Instagram framing templates that I personally use to frame everything that I post onto social media. And in addition to that, everything in the preset pack is customizable, so this is very good for beginners that are just getting into this and they kind of want to figure out how everything works. So if you are interested in the preset, I'll have it linked in the description below. It is currently 40% off until the end of August, so if you think it could be valuable to you, just go ahead and grab it as quickly as possible. Okay, enough talking, let's get into this. All right, so here we are in Lightroom, and the first thing I like to do is come into the basics tab. I kind of just mute out the colors, the lighting of the entire thing. You guys can see I am lowering all the highlights and I'm bringing up all the shadows. You can see the difference that makes. It kind of lowers the contrast of the entire thing. Pretty much the point of this is to increase the dynamic range of the image, giving myself more information to work with in my future settings. There are many ways you can do this. You can do it with the basic settings up here. You can also do it with the curves. I just prefer to do it here because it's the first thing in the editing panel. Next up, I will lower the clarity as well as the haze. And then for here, I'll usually bump up my vibrance and my saturation to wherever it feels comfortable. I think this is good. Now in the tone curves, we have the parametric curve, point curve, and then we have the different color curves. To adjust the contrast of my image, I like to use the parametric curves. So the shadows will just bring them back down a little bit. There's good. And also I like to use the scroll wheel to edit the numbers. I don't like dragging the actual bar itself, so I just click on the point and then I scroll to wherever I want it to go. For the darks, we're actually going to bring these up. I don't know what type of look I'm exactly going for yet, but this is kind of how I edit most of my own personal photos. The lights will increase that to make the image overall brighter, and I think highlights we're probably going to leave alone. Once again, we can always come back later to change these settings. Now we can check what it looks like before and after the tone curve. I pretty much use it to add some contrast back into the image because I don't like using the actual contrast bar unless I actually have to. Next up, in the point curves, I like to bring this up, and then we'll change the number to probably 15. I think that's good. And then we'll also bring the white point down to probably around there. Now I'll just click on a point right here and I'll make it 60 input and 60 output as well. I feel like that's a little too low contrast, so what I'm pretty much doing here is adding more contrast in the darker area of the image. So we'll bring that down. I think 50 is fine. Yeah, I think 50 is fine. Then we'll increase the brightness of the image by doing this. So put these both at 120, so then it kind of increases the contrast of the overall image. We'll see before and after. Now I'm kind of feeling that the darks are a little bit too dark, so I'm going to bring this back up about 5 points. I think I'll actually make this 130. I think this is good. We'll go into the blue curves, the blue channel, and one thing I like to do is lower that by 5, maybe lower it a little bit more. So pretty much what this does is adds some yellow into the overall image, or mostly into the brighter parts of the image. But I like to do it with the shadows as well, but not as much, so we'll just leave it as 5 and see the difference that makes. Which I think I'll go in the opposite direction and actually make this blue. Then I'll add a point here just to bring them to a neutral point. Essentially what I'm doing with this is adding some blue into the shadows and adding some yellow into the midtones and the highlights. And then I'll do the same thing in the green channel. I'll add a point here, make this 60. The point of making these both 60 is that it remains on the like neutral line pretty much, so that it doesn't affect the entire image. Sometimes that won't work because if you see that you go too far, it will automatically add some purple into like the opposite parts of the image. We're not going to add that much green, we're just going to put it at 5, and we see it does still add some purple. So what I like to do is add another neutral point just to even it out. It won't be perfect, but it does kind of fix the entire issue. You can see the difference that it has made already. It's made the image a lot brighter and a lot warmer. One thing I'll mention now before I forget is that I prefer to adjust my exposure and my color temperature last. But if an image starts really dark or really bright, then I will adjust the exposure first to kind of get it to a normal level, and then I'll start editing from there. Usually when I'm working with my own presets, I like to apply the preset first and then make my adjustments afterwards. Now for the tone curve, that's all we're gonna do for that. Now we're gonna move on to, I usually skip calibration unless I feel the need to later on. I'm gonna go on to color grading. Actually, we'll skip color mixer for now. So color grading is where I like to give the overall feel of the image. Now for here, I usually put this at around 40, a saturation of either 10 to 20. We'll try 10 first. Actually, we'll try 20 first because it's a little bit too red at the moment. So I'm gonna bring it up to 60. That's too green in my opinion. I'll bring it down then to 55. I think that's good. My shadows, I prefer my shadows to be more of a blue color. So I usually go like 130 or 160. Or 160. I'll only do 5 because we don't want it to be too dramatic. Midtones, we'll probably put the midtones at around 70. This is just my own personal preference and how I prefer to edit my photos. Midtones, I usually do around 10 since midtones do affect the majority of the image. My camera overheated, but we are back now. I think I took like a 20-minute break just to let it cool down properly, but we are back in business. As I was saying, I was editing the highlights here. I think the highlights, we're going to leave them at either 60 or even at 50. Kind of add like a bit of a red tint to the photo. And I think that's all we're gonna do for this. And I'm actually gonna turn the global down, not by 1. I'm gonna put it to 10 just so the strength isn't too strong. I'm gonna do the same to you as well. Put you down to 5. There we go. We can see before and after the difference that it makes. It's just made the image a lot warmer. And for a grain, I'll just do 40. Grain size, I like to do either 30 or 35. And then roughness, probably somewhere around 70. And I think that's good. When you zoom in so you can see it, it's very nice. Now, this is for my camera specifically. As you can see, my files are pretty big. And the grain can change depending on how large your file is. All right, now lastly, we're going to go to the color mixer. One thing I like to do is kind of just shift every color to its warmer counterparts. So for red, I think 30 towards orange is pretty good. Orange I like to leave alone since that's like the main color that affects the skin. Yellow, we're gonna bring it to maybe around 15 because yellow and green are like one and the same. Actually, I don't know if I want to push it that far. I think 10 is good. Aqua, I'm gonna bring that towards green. And this is kind of the reason I have this little color chart thing. Kind of just helps me see the changes that I'm making immediately. I'm turning blue towards aqua. I think this is good enough. I'll actually bring this to 30 and I'll also do 40. And saturation, I like to saturate my warmer colors and then desaturate the cooler colors. I think around here is good. Especially the reds. You'll notice the reds in my photos are very highly saturated. I think this is good. Then our luminance, I do the opposite. So I'll brighten up my cooler colors. Then I'll darken my warmer color. Okay, and I think that's going to be it for the color mixer. You can see the change that it made. Very cool, very nice. And honestly, this photo is looking pretty good. Let's check before and after. Very, very nice. I think I'm going to lower the dehaze a little bit. I'm pretty sure I shot this with a diffusion filter, so I don't need to add that much dehazing to it. Okay, and I think that's going to be it for this. And then from here, I'll usually start to mess around with the temperature and the tint to see where I want it to be. I think making this a little bit warmer and then slight green tint. Let's check before and after. That's looking pretty nice. I kind of want to decrease the contrast of the entire image. Instead of using the contrast slider, I'm going to go into here and bring up the shadows. I think that's good. Bring down the light as well. All right, wonderful. I think that's good. That's nice. Now I'm going to turn this into a preset. So pretty much what you want to do, add new preset, create, and then you have to be very careful when selecting what to add into your preset. We're going to name this test. We'll put it in a new group. Usually blue check none, and then just select whatever I change. So treatment and profile, yes. Do the basics except for white balance and exposure. We'll do all our curves, color mixer, color grading. Detail, we didn't really do anything with the sharpening, so I'm not going to include it. Corrections, we didn't do anything. Transform, we didn't do anything. Lens flare, we didn't do anything. Effects, we did. We added grain. Calibration, we didn't do anything. In the HDR, we didn't do anything. So that's going to be it for the settings that we're going to add to the preset. We're going to click create. It's going to make a new group. And then we have our preset right here. So now let's go on to some other photos that I have in the timeline here. Go to this one. I'm going to reset it. Use our test preset. And wow, we can see that looks very, very nice. We'll do before and after. I think for this, I'm going to increase the brightness because I want it to be a little bit brighter. That's good. That's pretty good. We'll decrease the dehaze a little bit, or increase the dehaze a little bit, just by 1. Or by 5, and that's looking pretty nice. We'll try a nighttime photo. It's already edited. I'll just reset it. We'll do our test preset. It's looking very, very nice. I think I actually want my darks to be a little bit darker in this one. I think that's good. Do before and after. We'll do another photo and do our test. Boom. You can see that it's a little bit hazy, which is why we're going to increase the haze a little bit more. From here, after applying a preset, I'll just go and change the temperature, make this a little bit warmer, tint it a little bit greener, and add that filmic look before and after. And it's looking very, very nice. Okay, I think I'll do one more photo. We'll do this one right here. And if you're curious as to what these were edited with before, you can see that they were edited with my the preset pack that I recently released. So you can go ahead and check that out. And I will be, again, making a video going over all of these. So we're going to reset this. We're going to add our test preset. You can see that it looks very, very nice. We'll do before and after. Then again, it was a really bright day, so I'm going to put the haze to 0 just to kind of add some contrast back into the photo. Tint it a little bit greener. I think here's good. Actually, here's good. You can see the skin tone is still looking very nice and warm and saturated. And that's just personally how I like my photos. Okay, and honestly, that's pretty much it. That's how I edit my photos. That's how I create my presets. You can see here, I have a lot of presets. These are all my personal presets that I use. Anytime I update my preset, I'll make a new one and I'll change the version name. So you can see right now I'm on version 17. It's like, I think I'm gonna wrap this up before my camera overheats again. So if you guys enjoyed this little tutorial, if you learned anything, please make sure to leave a like and subscribe for some future tutorials on how I edit my photos. And I'll also be making videos on how I edit my videos. Hopefully this was useful for anyone that's new to Lightroom and wants to learn how to edit. Yeah, that's gonna be it for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching, and thank you guys all for the support recently. I am trying to reach 200 subscribers in the next, I believe, 4 days, in the next 3 days actually. Last I checked, we were at 190, so that's pretty good, especially because we pretty much reached that in the last month. Thank you guys so much for all the support and all the comments and all the likes. It means a lot to me, really. I'm glad that people are finding my videos enjoyable and that people are actually learning things from it. I am trying to make more educational videos that are like directly educational, where you actually learn something, whereas my past videos have been more of just like behind the scenes and how I do things. So starting now, pretty much I will be doing more in-depth tutorials and looks as to how I'm actually running things in the background. So if you would like to see those, just make sure you subscribe, and I will see you in my other videos. All right, that's gonna be it for now, and I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your day. Goodbye.